Welcome everyone, it's Shari Carroll here with another Stamptember exclusive, and this stamp set is from Ink Blot Shop. This stamp set is 4x6 and it features two really cute characters, a little girl and a little boy. It also has a campsite at the bottom that you can add to your cards, and also some great messages, clouds, moons, and everything to put together. I've decided to use this as a slimline card, and I'm using some Doodlebug Petite print papers, and I've just cut that in about a 3.5 by 8.5 size. I'm using my MISTI so that I can extend this stamp set. So once I have that well stamped the first time, I can shift my paper over and continue stamping some additional trees. But before I do that, I want to mask off some of the other stamps so that I don't transfer the ink. I can re-ink my stamp up and continue that tree line so that I have additional trees. I've stamped a variety of the images onto some white cardstock, and here I am stamping additional trees as well. This time I don't have to really worry about masking because I'll be cutting all of these out to add to my card later. And back to my background piece, I've decided to stamp a few additional trees to the left of the tent. I've added a strip of green cardstock just below the tree line and tent, and here I'm using my anti-static bag so that I can white emboss my message, and I'll be using Simon Says Stamp clear ink. And once that's stamped, I'm sprinkling on some white embossing powder. I'll tap off the excess and heat set that with my heat tool. To complete my camp scene, I am using some Tim Holtz Distress texture paste along with the Simon Says Stamp Random Dots and Stars stencil, and I'm just going to spread this over top, and I've positioned this to where it doesn't interfere with my message, and I've also blocked out a piece that might interfere with my trees. So I'll just spread a thin layer and make sure I get all these little tiny stars covered with paste. And once I pull that stencil up, you can see how the nice scattering of stars in my sky. For my coloring, I'm using my Copic markers, and I'm starting with G84, and I'm coloring all my trees. I'm adding in a line to the right. That's where I want the darkest color to sit first. Then I can go back over with G94 just to create a little bit of darker image, and then back to the G84 to fill in. For my skin tone, I am using E41, and then I can darken in the sides by using a little bit of E43 mixed together by touching my lighter pen to my darker pen. And I'm using R20 to create a little bit of pink cheeks. I'm going in with E43 for the tent, and then to darken that up, I'm going in with E44 just for the shading and the inside shadows of the tent. I've decided to make her a scout, so I'm using G84 for her dress and also her little bloomers and the center of her hat. I'll darken in around the edges with the G94 just to give it a little bit of shadowing. And I'm using B93, 95, and 97 to color in her little backpack and also the sides of her hat. I'm making her a blonde, and for her hair I'm using Y15, Y17, and then I'm going back in with a little bit of YR15. I'm also coloring the stars on her hat and dress the same. Once I have everything stamped and colored, I've trimmed down my panel, and I've used the Simon Says Stamp scallop die to create a frame, and then I've attached that to a slimline note card, and I've popped that up with a little bit of foam tape. I've done a bit of fussy cutting, I will admit, and I cut those right up to the stamped black line. And I'm adding some Simon Says Stamp Craft Tacky Glue, and I'm using my fine line applicator tip just to get a really nice skinny flow of glue. The tent will overlap the green piece just a bit, but the tree will sit right at that line. So I'll continue gluing down my trees until I have them all in place. I've also trimmed out my little girl right up to that stamp line, and I've used a little bit of foam tape, and I'm going to pop her up just onto that scallop frame and that background to give her a bit of dimension and so that she stands out. And finally, to finish my card off, I've added some clouds and a popped up moon. I hope you've enjoyed the inspiration of using the stamp set and stretching it a bit to create a slimline card. Remember that this stamp set is an exclusive for Stamptember and is a limited edition while quantities last. And I hope you're enjoying Stamptember. As always, thanks so much for watching.